Hey, good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. We're going to run through the Google Cloud Data Analytics Roadmap for you. My name is Chad, and I'm really glad to have you all here with us. In addition to communicating a whole bunch of information to you, we also want to hear from you. So grab a quick shot of this QR code, and that'll take you to a form, and you can fill out that form on things you like, things you don't like, as we go along. In addition to the data analytics webinar, which is what we're in right now, we've got a couple other ones coming up for you in just a few weeks. So Looker and Vertex AI are going to be doing similar sessions to this one soon after the new year. So keep your eyes open for those. Zeroing in on this particular webinar, we've got three big sections. We're going to go through a little bit of, kind of the big developments that have happened in data analytics. These are not going to be new to any of you listening to this, but they do inform how we, as Google product leads, prioritize and how we choose which things to build. And I thought that that would be good context to give you all. Then we're going to spend the bulk of the time going through the BigQuery suite, new features and things coming up. And then the last few minutes, we'll talk about, we'll save the last bit for questions and answers. By the way, there are a whole host of people who are answering questions live in the Q&A forum. So go ahead and paste your questions there, and we will we'll answer them. And then we'll take a few of them and at the end of the session to answer them directly from the voices of our speakers. Speaking of speakers, here they are. So they'll introduce themselves as we go along. My name is Chad. I'm a group product manager in the Outbound PM team. And I'm going to hand it off directly to Yasmin Ahmad, who's going to walk you through those first two sections on the state of the industry and how Google starts to think and rationalize about our strategy here. So Yasmin, if I can hand it off to you, please.
Thank you, Chad. It's my pleasure to kick off today's session and talk a little bit about the origins of our strategy, what we're seeing in the market and how that has shaped the roadmap that you're going to see in today's session. As I reflect on the industry and conversations that we've had with organizations across one-to-ones, events, and engagements, I sense excitement from customers. We started this year with organizations really feeling the pressure to optimize. But fast forward to today, GenAI has really created that sense of excitement around what is possible with data analytics and AI. Every organization is looking at not just building a dashboard, a report, or a model, solving a single use case. They're thinking about how data and AI can change the game for their business. Transforming customer experiences, driving step changes in employee productivity, pivoting how decisions are made across enterprises. And today, data, analytics, and AI is not just the domain of AI engineers or data scientists. With generative AI, data and analytics is more accessible to more people across the enterprise than ever before. However, in those same conversations, what we hear from customers is that today's data architectures make it really difficult to unlock the value of AI. In fact, only 19% of companies feel like they're maximizing the value from data. Where does this stem from? Well, the challenges for today's enterprises are broad. Some have grown through acquisitions and mergers. Their IT estates are cobbled together over years of evolution, and others have grown rapidly from startup to scale and collected a lot of technology debt. And as with these complex technology estates, we hear organizations are impacted. There's a ton of choice today, unlimited choice, in fact. But in today's complex technology estates, we're finding that that means more technology silos, more data silos. Historically, there's been a focus on structured data, but less focus on the unstructured data that we have to manage today. It's really hard to democratize data across the enterprise because in today's world, we're relying a lot on standard dashboards and reports. Also, the productivity of our data and analytics teams is not necessarily great. There's hours and hours being spent by data engineers who are wrangling data to make it easily consumable. Layer that now with all of the management and governance of data, the security of that data across clouds. This amounts to an almost impossible challenge for some organizations. So how do we tap into AI, but in a responsible way, where we're not putting data at risk? This is exactly what we've been focused on here at Google, how to help our customers overcome these challenges. And this is what has taken our product strategy and the roadmap that you're going to hear about today. It's our mission in data and analytics to accelerate every organization's ability to transform with an intelligent, unified, and open data and AI ecosystem. In today's world, organizations need data to be unified across clouds, with data living in multiple clouds, structured and unstructured, in different formats like Hudi, Delta, Iceberg. We need to help you create a data backbone that is not just about data in one single curated environment. And critically, you don't want to have to copy your data as you do different workloads, whether it's BI, analytics, AI. The magic is in having a single data foundation on top of which multiple workloads can be executed. And also orchestrating thousands of pipelines and workflows, because it's not just about one workload. How do you drive that orchestration? How do you make sure all of those workloads can run against different data with different SLAs? How do you make sure that governance works across not just the data, but also AI, end-to-end traceability? This is what we've been solving for at Google. And actually GenAI can help here. So as we bring all of these things together, I am excited to kick off the discussion on our product roadmaps. You will hear today about how we are bringing together many capabilities in our BigQuery suite, whether that's interconnecting all of the data, bringing AI to that data, or delivering new GenAI experiences. We are bringing all of those capabilities to our BigQuery suite. We have heard you. It's complicated today. Many tools, which tool to use, in which order. Well, we want to simplify this. We don't want you to have to think about tools. Instead, we want to make that journey seamless end to end. And that's why we're navigating towards the BigQuery suite. We are bringing all of those capabilities closer together. And in our roadmaps, you'll start to see how we're integrating those capabilities across the BigQuery suite. For example, you don't need to feel like you're going to a separate tool to do governance with Dataplex. Governance will show up where your data is. And of course, our BigQuery suite is actually part of our broader data and AI cloud, alongside Vertex and our business insights tools with Looker. So you won't just see us integrating capabilities within the BigQuery suite, you will also see us closely integrating with the Vertex AI platform and the business insights world of Looker. I want to emphasize this integration with Vertex AI because what we've heard loud and clear from our customers, from you, is that as you embark on that GenAI journey, the security of your data is paramount. This is where we have strength at Google because we're built ground up for AI. We have the infrastructure, the foundational models, the AI platform, the data platforms. So we can integrate in a way that means your data never leaves your secure data and AI cloud. And actually, we have many customers who are running millions of machine learning operations, the likes of Wayfair, Home Depot, Samsung, who are benefiting from that one integrated Google's data and AI cloud. And linked to AI, what you'll also hear about today is Duet AI across data and analytics. Duet AI in Google Cloud is our new assistive and augmentative AI experience. And we're bringing that to the world of data and analytics. In today's roadmap session, you will hear about how we're bringing Duet to support all personas, be it data engineers, analysts, business users, to accelerate their data work. And importantly, Duet AI is continuously learning from all of the interactions that happen in a BigQuery Suite platform. Any query that's run, any metadata that is collected, we're using all of that rich log data and history to make GenAI predictions more accurate, to make your recommendations more intelligent. So to recap, what you're going to hear about today is our BigQuery Suite, as we bring together all of the data and analytics capabilities and supercharge them with AI. And with Google, you're able to truly access a unified data foundation across clouds with the ability to run different workloads on a single copy of data, and with built-in AI and intelligence into that platform. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Brian to get us going. Brian.
Am I on? Sorry about that one. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Welker, Director of Product Management on the BigQuery team. I'm excited to tell you, give you a sneak peek of our upcoming capabilities and talk about the latest innovations on the platform. When we introduced BigQuery back in 2010, it was focused on a single use case, and that was running SQL queries on very large data sets. And since that initial launch 13 years ago, we've evolved the platform to continuous innovation, and it's now become the analytics lakehouse that is the center of our BigQuery Suite strategy. And some key BigQuery innovations over the years include programmatic extensibility, sorry about that, geospatial support, real-time streaming, multi-cloud analytics, support for open format data lakes, data sharing through Analytics Hub, our SQL-based machine learning with BigQuery ML, support for operational log analytics and search, and business intelligence query acceleration. And the pace of innovation with BigQuery is not slowing down. In 2023, we've already launched 140 new capabilities. That's 40% more than we did in 2022. And that's 40% more than we did in 2021. So lots of new capabilities to take advantage of. And you might not need to take advantage of every one of these, but having these capabilities in a single integrated analytical data platform ensures that you don't have to incur extra expense or complexity when you need it to take advantage of them. I'm ahead by one, back one more. There we go. Now, if you're familiar with BigQuery, you know there's no other product on the planet like it. The architecture takes full advantage of the Google technical infrastructure that's underneath the world's biggest websites. And these components include Colossus, that's our global storage system that sits under both BigQuery Storage and Google Cloud Storage. Includes features like replication, recovery, distributed management, so you never lose your data and there's no single point of failure. Borg is our cluster management system, automatically routes processing tasks between our highly scalable compute architecture. Dremel is our execution engine, completely stateless. So if a Dremel node goes down, or even an entire cluster goes down, your queries won't be interrupted. When you combine this with Google's Jupyter, that's our high-speed performance networking infrastructure, and MindMeld, our distributed file system, that's used to collect the intermediate states of queries in BigQuery, you'll find BigQuery to be more reliable than any other cloud data warehousing product. Really brings all of the innovations and resources to your workloads. And this architecture is the foundation for continuing innovations within BigQuery. Now, as Yasmin mentioned, we're leveraging the power of AI and specifically Gen AI directly in BigQuery with Duet AI. We've integrated Duet AI right into the BigQuery SQL editor, and we'll also offer it in our new Python notebook editor. Now, the traditional way of starting a query is search for the table or view that you're looking for, and you start adding columns and joins and aggregations. And Duet AI can help you get started by typing your query in natural language and having Duet generate the SQL. And Duet not only understands SQL semantics, it includes understanding of the metadata of all the data that's available to you. In addition to SQL generation from natural language, Duet includes advanced statement completion and summarization of your SQL queries. With Duet AI, your data and prompts are contained in your environment, and we'll continue to add new Duet AI capabilities to BigQuery over the coming months and years. The BigQuery console is the most popular client for BigQuery. In fact, over 1 million queries run from BigQuery's SQL workspace every single day. And BigQuery Studio expands on the SQL workspace to be a one-stop shop for all data practitioners, including data analysts, data engineers, and data scientists. BigQuery Studio, not only do you get a great SQL editor, you get access to Python notebooks backed by BigQuery data frames. Data frames is a new Python library that provides a familiar Pandas interface to leverage the power of BigQuery to work with large data sets. And it's not just multiple language support. BigQuery Studio is a fully integrated development environment. It includes things like source control and versioning. BigQuery Studio is in preview, so we encourage you to give it a shot today. Integrated AI and machine learning are key capabilities for the modern Lakehouse platform. And BigQuery was the first cloud data warehouse to offer SQL-based machine learning capabilities. And we're continuing that innovation by integrating new capabilities from Vertex AI. Now, BigQuery ML lets you create, train, execute machine learning models in BigQuery using just regular SQL queries. That means you don't have to write custom Python code just to call AI models. And it eliminates the need to build and manage data pipelines that move data between BigQuery and the AI system. It streamlines governance and helps reduce the risk of data loss by avoiding that data movement. Now, we've enhanced BigQuery's inference capabilities. We already supported batch inference for models trained within BigQuery, but we've extended the support, including the ability to import models, including many popular formats like PyTorch or XGBoost or TF-Lite. And you can also reference models on Vertex AI and leverage the SQL API to do the inferences. Recent additions to BQML include the ARIMA Plus time series, explainable AI, advanced feature engineering, where you can create pre-processing functions for prediction and specify those during model creation. And finally, we've leveraged the remote inference capability to generate text from large language models in Vertex AI. You can use any of the Vertex models available, including the open source models. You can generate text and embeddings, which are key enablers for building blocks for applications like semantic search, recommendation, text clustering, and semantic analysis. Now, BigQuery ML unlocks a virtually infinite number of use cases for large language models. And this puts the power of LLMs in the hands of data analysts and data engineers. You can do things like sentiment analysis, data enrichment, entity extraction, content generation, and machine translation. And the ease of use of BigQuery ML means that you get to focus on prompt engineering, not on AI infrastructure. Now, using LLMs through data-driven prompts is powerful, but support for vectors really takes LLMs to the next level. A vector is the semantic representation of any entity, say a user or an item. And when I send a prompt to a model, I can represent the output as a vector and then compare two vectors to determine the similarity. So I can use techniques like retrieval augmented generation to take what I would get from an LLM model and compare that to what I get with my own data. And I can also measure the quality of the embeddings I'm generating. The question is how to manage these operations. And vector databases have been a popular topic in industry and academia. So we're excited to announce that we'll be adding vector indexes directly into BigQuery in 2024. This fully managed index keeps your embeddings automatically in sync with your data. And then you can pass those to Vertex AI for online prediction, semantic search, similarity search, and recommendations. Last year, we launched BigLake, and this is a storage engine for the Lakehouse architecture. It lets you have a common way to work with data, whether it's in BigQuery managed storage or in open formats like Cloud Object Storage. And this year, we launched support for Apache Iceberg, Delta, and Hudi. And we made these formats available for governance and performance acceleration within BigQuery. We also announced a new managed tables for Iceberg. And this gets the full set of BigQuery functionality, including DML and high throughput streaming. We'll continue to add new capabilities to BigLake and support the same great features that you have with BigQuery's managed storage on these open source formats. As part of the data AI journey, we really need to leverage all the organizational assets, and this includes unstructured data in your organization. And object tables provide a tabular representation of the objects in the GCS bucket. You get full SQL-based access to the object metadata, and you can leverage built-in machine learning models without having to create a copy of the data. Now, combined with object tables, you can leverage BQML to do the inference on pre-trained models for vision, natural language, or doc AI. One of our customers, an ag tech company called Simiod, uses object tables and vision models to analyze the images of orchids and predict the perfect temperature so that they bloom at the right quality. Really, the opportunities are unlimited with this with object tables. We're continuing to make Apache Spark a first-class citizen in Google Cloud and BigQuery. Our serverless Spark is a huge productivity boost for developers, where developers can really focus on code and logic instead of the tuning infrastructure and managing clusters traditionally with Spark jobs. And the processing is automatically scaled to the needs of the job. And with Spark stored procedures in BigQuery, which are now in preview, you can call Spark code from your SQL with no additional infrastructure to manage. And your Spark code honors the same runtime security controls, just like all other SQL queries. BigQuery Omni is the BigQuery technology for bringing your analytics to data on other cloud platforms. So it's cross-cloud analytics at scale with a single pane of glass. And with Omni, the compute resources run locally to the storage, meaning that your analytics experience is seamless in both AWS and Azure. We recently launched Omni support for additional AWS regions in Ireland and Korea. We also added cross-cloud joins, where you can have a single query that includes data from both AWS or Azure and GCP. Similarly, the cross-cloud materialized views lets you create a view on GCP that's kept up to date with ongoing data changes of your data in other clouds. And finally, we offered a preview of data federation and sharing with Salesforce Data Cloud. So if you have data in Salesforce, you can create a data share that keeps your data up to date in an AWS bucket and then integrate that with BigQuery on GCP. Data governance is critical for a successful analytics lakehouse platform, and that's why we've integrated key data governance features from Dataplex directly into BigQuery Studio. This enables data scientists, data engineers, and data analysts to get the information as they're working with the data. And this includes data profiling, automatic data quality, and data lineage for tracking the end-to-end history of data within BigQuery. That includes BigLake, BigQuery Omni, wherever that data flows from. Now, Prajakta will talk about some of these capabilities later in the presentation. Now, traditional security and governance works really well within a single organization, but sharing across organizations has a different set of challenge. And that's why we launched Analytics Hub. This is a new service built on BigQuery that helps organizations unlock the value of data sharing. You can create a rich data ecosystem by publishing or subscribing to data, and these are analytics ready. You don't have to do any additional processing on top of them. We recently launched new metrics for data publishers to better understand how their data is being used by their subscribers. We also launched previews of several other features, including data egress controls and support for cross-cloud data sharing with BigLake and Omni. Now, most cross-organization data sharing involves trusted partners who provide full access to the data. But there's times when organizations want to share sensitive data in a lower trust environment. And to support this use case, we announced support for data clean rooms. This is a capability built on BigQuery that provide low trust environment for data collaboration. We're leveraging Google's leading privacy features such as k-anonymity and differential privacy to reduce the risk that your data will be used inappropriately. In addition to these privacy features, we provide usage monitoring to ensure that your partners are compliant with data sharing agreements. Data clean rooms are in preview now. Now, earlier this year, we launched BigQuery Editions. This is a new model that offers a tiered pricing structure with different feature sets for different workloads at different price points. Our standard edition is a core of BigQuery capabilities and a great choice for starting off with BigQuery, POCs, and sort of ad hoc SQL workloads. Enterprise Edition has increased scalability, advanced security features like row and column security, and features like embedded machine learning, business intelligence caching, and full text search. The Enterprise Plus edition is for your most demanding workloads and has the highest level of resilience, will offer regional disaster recovery, and wide ranges of regulatory compliance. You can also take advantage of 1 and 3 year commitments for a discounted price in the Enterprise and Enterprise Plus edition. And you can actually mix within your organization all three editions of BigQuery. Now, all three editions also come with our new autoscaler functionality that I'll talk about in just a minute, and a new compressed storage option that lets you store more data in BigQuery for less. One of the key capabilities we launched with editions was autoscaling. Previously, we only had 2 models for BigQuery Compute. The first was an on-demand model that had pay-as-you-go pricing based on the number of bytes processed in a query. And this model is easy to use, but relies on you to manage your own query budgets. Now, our slot model provided a predictable fixed price for consistent workloads, but it required you to manage your utilization. And autoscaling offers the best of both. With autoscaling, you specify your top-line capacity budget, and BigQuery automatically adjusts your capacity based on your workload. New capacity is available immediately and even accelerates queries in flight. When your query demand increases, capacity scales up. When it goes away, it scales down even to 0. With BigQuery autoscaling, you get full control while paying for what you use. Continuous queries is a new feature that unlocks continuous analytical processing via SQL. Now, previously, when you were using streaming data ingestion, you'd have to schedule periodic queries to process the data as it lands within BigQuery. With continuous queries, you can run an unbounded SQL query, which continuously processes the data as it arrives. Now, this provides deep integration with Vertex AI, with Bigtable and PubSub to further empower data engineers, analysts, and data scientists to build event-driven applications like dynamic data enrichment, entity extraction, and reverse ETL capabilities. So you can deliver uniquely personalized content using your data in BigQuery. Look for a preview of continuous queries coming in 2024. Now, a few months ago, we launched a preview of cross-region dataset replication. And this allows you to maintain copies of your data in additional regional locations. Now, as you can see from the diagram, BigQuery automatically synchronizes a copy of your data in a second zone within the same region. And this is provided at no additional cost. But in 2024, we'll launch a new capability called cross-region disaster recovery. And it's built on top of cross-region dataset replication and provides managed failover in the very unlikely event of a regional disaster. A cross-region disaster recovery lets you specify a reservation and a collection of data sets that BigQuery maintains in a second geographical region. We'll offer a published recovery point objective and recovery time objectives for this configuration. And the nice thing about this capability is you don't have to change any of your queries after a failover. They're automatically routed to the resources in the new primary region. BigQuery comes with a variety of features that let you recover from user errors. Earlier this year, we launched table snapshots and table clones. Table snapshots are read-only versions of tables, and you can restore this table snapshot to a normal table if you want to go backwards in time. And this is useful for logical backups or queries beyond the time travel window. Now, table clones are writable versions of base tables, and they allow for read and write operations. And this is really useful for testing production databases in development environments. Now, you don't incur any additional storage for table snapshots and clones until the base table is modified or the table clone is modified. In 2024, we're offering 2 additional features for backup and recovery. Dataset undelete allows you to recover an entire dataset as long as it was deleted within the time travel window, which is by default for BigQuery 7 days. And dataset snapshots are an extension of table snapshot that lets you create a read-only copy of all objects in a dataset. Look for both of these capabilities next year. Now, migrating to a new platform can be difficult, and that's why a few years ago we launched BigQuery Migration Service, a set of free tools for migrating to BigQuery. We now support 13 different sources, including Redshift, HiveQL, Spark SQL, Netezza, Teradata, Synapse, Oracle, Snowflake, SQL Server, and Vertica. Customers are seeing the benefits of this easy migration. For example, a customer here in Seattle Children's Hospital, had completed an end-to-end Netezza integration migration to BigQuery in under 4 months. And this was over 650 databases, tens of thousands of database objects, and millions of lines of code, of SQL code. And we've had over 650 customer accounts using 21 million SQL queries using Bax translation, really getting the benefits of these free tools. Next year, we're going to leverage the power of LLMs to reduce the effort for translations. We're also offering new programs with both Google Professional Services and our partners to help customers with migrations. And so look for a lot of new capabilities coming in 2024. We're also excited to expand the migration service to fully cover Apache Spark and Hadoop workloads. And this includes on-premises Hadoop, as well as Amazon EMR or Databricks. And by automating the assessments, metadata, data, and governance, we expect customers to save significantly in their migration costs. In addition to migration tooling, we have lots of great tools that make it easy to bring data to BigQuery. Our data transfer service provides a serverless data movement tool to get your data into BigQuery on a scheduled basis with no lines of code required. And it supports popular first and third-party connectors such as Google SaaS apps and cloud storage providers. We recently launched support for Azure Blob Storage, Google Display and Video 360, and next year we'll provide new connectors for Salesforce, ServiceNow, Facebook Ads, and Oracle. Now, DataStream is our CDC service that provides near real-time replication into BigQuery. Now, it already supports MySQL, Postgres, AlloyDB, and Oracle, and will support Microsoft SQL Server coming next year. And finally, we're continuing to invest in Cloud Data Fusion. That's our fully managed data integration service. We recently launched support for GitHub integration and the ability to push down transformations into BigQuery SQL. And we have a new set of capabilities coming next year. Finally, I want to mention Dataform. It's a great new feature of BigQuery that we launched into GA earlier this year. And it's a powerful and easy way to use SQL-based to create and use SQL-based transformation pipelines. So if you're familiar with a tool like dbt, you'll feel right at home with Dataform's development environment. And you model your destination table in Dataform's SQLX template language. And then Dataform will generate and run the resulting SQL transformation pipelines. Now, Dataform is free to use outside of the cost of the BigQuery SQL, and it's now generally available. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Abhi, who's going to talk about open source engines and Dataproc.
Thank you, Brian. Hello, everyone. I'm Abhishek Kashyap. I'm a product management director. I lead open source processing engines and the BigQuery engine. So today we'll talk about the roadmap for BigQuery engines. So Dataproc, which is the open source engine, it's a open source processing platform for services like Apache Hadoop, which you may already be using on-prem, or Apache Spark, which is now becoming very, very popular for data science workloads. With Dataproc, we focus on providing you an enterprise-grade platform for running these services. We focus on open source. We are making Spark serverless. We focus on integration with the rest of our platform, like BigQuery, Vertex AI, Dataplex. And you can do open source and proprietary AI ML all through the same platform without having to leave it. In terms of the focus areas for our roadmap, we focus on 4 things. One, in providing industry-leading price performance for Spark. Second, we are democratizing Spark with serverless and making it a cloud-native service. Third, if you have data that needs to stay back on-prem for regulatory reasons, we can provide Spark on-prem through Google Distributed Cloud. And finally, we are heavily focused on security and compliance as well as reliability, which I'll touch upon. So as we look at each of these areas one by one, the first one is price performance. And we did a study with ESG where ESG found that if you bring your Hadoop cluster on-prem to Google Cloud with Dataproc, you get about a 54% lower total cost of ownership. And if you are coming from another cloud because of some of the benefits in Dataproc, like a very short startup time, having ephemeral clusters, you get about 30 to 50% savings from other cloud solutions as well. Now, since we did this study, we have actually improved our performance on Spark significantly. If you go to the next slide. As you can see here, over the last year, by doing major enhancements in Spark, as well as in our storage connectors with BigQuery and GCS, we have significantly improved Spark performance, and we actually now have the best price performance on Spark for TPCDS. Next slide, please. Now, looking at serverless Spark, if some of you develop with Spark, Spark still needs you to manage, or someone on your data engineering team to manage the infrastructure. So you buy VMs, you decide what they need to be, you size them. So as a result, almost 60% of the time of developers actually goes into infrastructure management, and only 40% into your code. So with serverless Spark, it's an API. You submit your Spark job, just like you do with SQL and BigQuery. The job auto scales. You don't have to think about infrastructure. You don't over provision, and you only pay for the time the job runs. You don't pay for the time the VMs are running, which is the case with a cluster-based solution. Next slide, please. Now, serverless Spark is being used by many, many customers in production for almost 2 years. These are just some of the public references from those. Next slide, please. Now, the main announcement that we are making is around data science workloads. So with serverless Spark, we are transforming the productivity for a data scientist by providing the ability to do on-demand interactive Spark development from your own notebook. So if you use Jupyter, we now have a Jupyter plugin that is open source. You can just install it and get it going. Serverless Spark Interactive is available through Vertex AI Workbench instances. And we are also coming to our partner notebooks at Hex and DeepNote very, very soon. So rather than someone provisioning a cluster, keeping it up and running all the time, your data scientists can now come, create an on-demand session, work with it, and after idle time to live, the session resources go away. And finally, we know data science is much better on GPUs, so we are also announcing the support of NVIDIA L4 and A100 GPUs, so you can run your data science workloads much more efficiently. As an example, this is a screen grab from someone running Jupyter on their laptop, on their desktop. With the plugin installed, you see a tile within Jupyter Lab through which you can create an on-demand session using Python, SQL, Scala, R. You can just type your code here. It will use the interactive scalable backend that will auto scale to run each of your cells, and it will clean up after you're done. Next slide, please. So in terms of on-prem, we have seen many, many use cases where some of the data needs to stay back on-prem. We have also seen use cases where you may be in multiple countries and there might be data residency requirements. We have a solution called Google Distributed Cloud Edge, which comes with it's a set of racks with VMs, with networking, with local storage, and it can run services on top of Kubernetes. So this allows you to standardize your operating model across GCP as well as your own data center. So what we are announcing today in preview, as you can see on the next slide, is the ability to run Dataproc Spark in your own data center. So if you're using Spark on GCP through Dataproc, you can just use the same applications on-prem in your own data center on top of GDC and achieve the same lower TCO that you get on GCP, as well as have standardization across your control plane. So if you are in many countries, or if you need to do things on-prem, you can do it easily. Next slide, please. Now, the last section is on security and reliability. So if you look at security and compliance, Dataproc has industry-leading compliance and security for your open source workloads. You can have the highest level of your own encryption key management with external key manager and access justification for any new keys. You can control who provides support. You can audit support, control access. You can create organizational policies to enforce things like enforcing CMEK usage across your users. If you want to use your own identity like Active Directory, you can use Workforce Identity Federation. And we promise data residency at rest, in transit, and in use. We guarantee it, so it's very, very compliant, whichever country you are in. Now, the next thing that's going to be very useful for you is data lineage for Apache Spark. So when you are on GCP, you're not just using one compute engine. For your full data platform that is modern, you may be using BigQuery, you may be using Spark. So with data catalog in Dataplex, it now supports table level lineage for Apache Spark as well as BigQuery. So from the same UI, looking at a table, you can see the lineage across multiple compute engines within GCP as a first party support. Next slide, please. Now, if you do run Dataproc clusters for your traditional Hadoop jobs, including Hive, Pig, MapReduce, you may sometimes notice that there are obtainability challenges, especially in peak seasons like Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We have a feature in public preview where you can mix families of VMs within the same cluster. And then you give us the priority order, and we will go through that. And rather than filling your cluster, it increases your chances of success considerably in the event of obtainability challenges. Next slide, please. And last but not the least, if you do have a Hive metastore, we all know a runtime metastore is the most critical part of your infra. Dataproc metastore now supports some multi-regional deployment. So we provide you with active disaster recovery, even against regional outages, using Spanner as the backend database. And very soon, we'll also be able to auto-scale to meet your fluctuating workloads, and you can already get fine-grained access control through this metastore. And that was the last slide. Over to Sean. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Abhishek. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Krondevel, and I lead the product management team for Dataflow and Cloud PubSub here in Google. So I'm going to take you through some of the roadmap items for Dataflow and PubSub in the next few slides. But before I do that, I wanted to kick it off with a little bit of a context, and particularly business context. When I talk to users like you, it's very clear that most of you see tremendous opportunities in streaming data, particularly the potential that streaming data has to transform your businesses and enable you to build new, delightful experiences for your users. If you think about it, every interaction that you have with your users, your partners, your suppliers generates streaming data. The interactions that your microservices have between each other or external systems generate streaming data. If you're able to harness all of those events, gain meaning out of that, derive insights and drive actions, you have the potential now to transform your business. I see this across industries and verticals. To name a few, in healthcare, I see use cases like real-time patient monitoring. In financial services, we are all familiar with fraud detection. In retail, we've all been users of cart upsell, dynamic pricing, and similar use cases. On telco, I see use cases like intrusion detection and network optimization. And in manufacturing, we see use cases like predictive maintenance. Hopefully that gives you a sense for the kind of business problems that you're able to solve with streaming. Now, let's switch gears and look at some of the recent innovations in Dataflow first. The team, 2023 has been a very busy year for the team. The team has focused on three key pillars. The first is making sure that we continue to evolve Dataflow as a reliable, mission-critical, performant platform that meets all of your enterprise needs. We've got a number of exciting launches. I'll cover some of those in the subsequent slides. The second area of focus is giving you tools that you need to build, operate, troubleshoot your streaming pipelines. The surface area for operations of your streaming pipelines is significantly different from batch pipelines. And we want to make sure we give you capable tools that make you incredibly productive in creating and deploying and managing streaming pipelines. And then lastly, we want to make sure that we make it incredibly easier for you to apply machine learning to your streaming data so that you're able to go ahead and implement some of the use cases that we talked about in the previous slide. With that, I'm going to run through some of the key capabilities that are in the roadmap. The first that we are pretty excited about, and a very unique capability in the industry, is dynamic thread scaling. One of the data points that we saw was most data pipelines, be it streaming or batch pipelines, do not saturate CPU resources that are allocated to the pipeline. Most pipelines run in an inefficient manner. And if only you had a technique or an ability to fully saturate the CPUs, you as a user are going to see incredible cost benefits. So the team built out a system that automatically adjusts the number of threads that are scheduled to a CPU or a virtual CPU resource so that you're able to maximize the utilization of underlying resources and get significant cost benefit improvements. The next feature is a number of capabilities that we've rolled out to our core streaming backend. Streaming Engine is the backend service that executes stateful streaming operations and streaming shuffle operations, and as a result, is critical to overall streaming pipelines. So the team has rolled out a number of key capabilities, and to name a few, the first one is a technique called key-based throttling, which takes into account available key parallelism in addition to other resource utilization signals to decide when to auto-scale. On the other hand, a technique called downscale dampening takes into account historical auto-scaling signals to fine-tune auto-scaling, specifically downscaling, so that we are able to strike the right balance between cost and performance. Fast worker handover enables us to quickly transition state from one worker to the other, thereby enabling us to quickly auto-scale and reduce tail latencies or fluctuations that come with auto-scaling. Range rebalancing and auto-sharding are other techniques that similarly improve the performance without you as a user having to manually go tweak the pipelines. Now, on the intelligence side, remember how I talked about one of the key goals for the team has been to bring machine learning to the world of streaming data. To that end, we've launched a number of capabilities in the last year, specifically a new capability called Run Inference that makes it extremely easy to integrate machine learning predictions in your streaming data pipelines. Based on user feedback, we added support for something called auto model updates, which automatically updates the model if the model were to be deployed as part of the data flow pipeline. Run Inference supports both local models that are deployed as part of the data flow pipeline, as well as remote models that are hosted in Vertex AI. And depending on your use case and requirements, you have the flexibility of choosing between those two options. To complement things on the prediction side, we launched support for our integrations with workflow managers, so specifically for machine learning, like TFX and Kubeflow, that makes it, again, extremely easy for you to leverage data flow for heavyweight data processing tasks, for pipelines, for end-to-end machine learning pipelines that you define using, for example, Vertex AI pipelines, using either Kubeflow or TFX technologies. From a roadmap perspective, we continue to invest and enhance machine learning capabilities in data flow. The first is we are enhancing the level of GPU support that we have. A number of users today use GPUs in data flow for predictions. We are now extending or building new observability tools that will allow you to understand the level of utilization of GPU resources so that you can maximize efficiencies for your pipeline. The second area is to build a number of higher order transforms, which are collectively called as ML transforms, that makes it easier or gives you out-of-the-box support for common machine learning pre-processing and post-processing tasks. And then lastly, Yasmin talked about Vertex AI integration across data analytics products. Dataflow today has a number of integration points with Vertex AI, and one of the things that we are going to be launching soon is integrations with Vertex AI Feature Store. Now, switching gears, let's cover some of the developer experience focused capabilities. The first is a capability called data sampling. Dataflow has a number of tools today that allows you to understand and reason about your pipelines. You've got a rich set of metrics available. You've got a GUI where you can dive into the details of the pipeline, look at specific stages. What we are now adding is we are complementing those set of capabilities with something called data sampling, which does an automatic sampling of data that is live data that is passing through the pipeline and makes it available at a later point in time when you're troubleshooting your pipelines. The benefit of this is that you now, in addition to all the metrics, detailed logs, and so on and so forth available for your pipelines, you also have samples of the actual data that was passing through the pipeline, so that now you're able to put one on one together to easily troubleshoot performance problems or other challenges with your pipelines. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, 2023, a lot of us have been focused on cost optimizations. So it's no surprise that one of the highest asked features has been to enable simple cost monitoring as part of the Dataflow console itself. Billing data, of course, is the authoritative source for any cost information, but we've added a simple experience that is part of the Dataflow user interface so that individual developers that do not have access to billing data can get high-level estimates for their job costs in the Dataflow UI. Let's go to the next slide, please. Now, with that, let me switch gears and spend a couple of minutes on some of the latest capabilities in Cloud PubSub. We launched a capability called Direct to BigQuery subscriptions late last year, which has seen a lot of use. So it enables customers to, with a click of a button, create a new subscription type in PubSub that automatically makes data that is available in a PubSub topic available in BigQuery. Let's go to the next slide. Now, based on customer feedback, we've now extended support for Google Cloud Storage for use cases where customers are building their data lake in Google Cloud Storage. Similar to the BigQuery direct subscriptions feature, with a click of a button, you as a user can now create a new subscription in the PubSub UI with the type GCS subscriptions. And after that, data automatically starts showing up in Google Cloud Storage. There are no pipelines to create, pipelines to monitor, or troubleshoot. There's a single click, fully managed experience for getting data in your PubSub topic to either BigQuery or to GCS. Let's go to the next slide. Now, as I said, we've got thousands of customers using both these capabilities, and based on the feedback, we are continuing to improve both of these capabilities. For example, on the BigQuery subscription side, we are adding support for storage write API, change data capture feature. Similarly, we are enhancing the level of support that we have for advanced filtering in both of these subscription types. You'll now be able to specify much more complex and longer filtering criteria so that you're able to get only the events that you want into either BigQuery or GCS. Let's go to the next slide. And the last capability that I want to highlight in PubSub is support for longer term retention. Some of you may know this. As of today, Cloud PubSub retains data automatically for 7 days. But with this capability, we are going to give you the ability to configure a retention time window, and that can go as long as 2 years. So this enables use cases like replays for certain scenarios, or if you're building out a data syndication platform or a use case, you now can control for how long data gets retained. Let's go to the next slide. So I want to wrap it up. And we've talked about a number of discrete capabilities, but the key takeaway I want you to leave today with is the fact that, with streaming data and the ability to collect and process and extract meaning out of streaming data, you have the potential to transform how your business operates. You have the capability to build new delightful experiences for your users, and there are opportunities across all verticals and industries. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Prajakta to come talk about governance capabilities in our portfolio. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Prajakta Damle, and I lead the product teams for orchestration, streaming, and governance. But today we are going to talk a little bit more about governance and everything that we've been up to provide you that end-to-end data management governance capability. So we launched Dataplex about 1.5 years back to really provide you with the ability to govern and manage your data at scale. Dataplex integrates with a number of our existing products, and you heard many of the speakers that went ahead before me today reference some of the capabilities. But in addition to data analytics products, it also integrates with other key GCP platform fundamentals like IAM, data loss prevention service, to provide customers the ability to curate all of their metadata have the ability to search and discover data at scale, organize data to map to their business domains, to map to their use cases, centrally secure and govern this data, and then use built-in capabilities like lineage, data quality, profiling, and more to manage and monitor their data at scale. In fact, 70% of our top data analytics customers today, many of you here today listening to us, are using Dataplex to govern their data. Next slide. So now, everything really in Dataplex starts from metadata, and Dataplex provides automatic cataloging, indexing of metadata from a number of GCP sources. And we are now adding a few additional new sources. We now support auto-cataloging of metadata from Bigtable databases, which is available, which launched in general availability a few weeks back. We also support Spanner databases and cataloging of metadata from Spanner, which is currently in a public preview going GA by the end of this year. And finally, we're really starting to take the first step to provide not just data, but data to AI governance by providing you the ability to automatically catalog, search, and discover your Vertex AI datasets and models right alongside your data assets within Dataplex. So that capability will be generally available towards the end of this year as well. Next slide. Now let's take a deeper look at what Dataplex provides for data that is stored in Google Cloud Storage. So for data in Google Cloud Storage, Dataplex can auto-infer the schema in addition to discovering the fact that you have certain buckets and objects with your analytics data. So all you have to do is point Dataplex to relevant buckets, and Dataplex can infer schema, map it to tables, partitions, make that available as big lake tables, as well as object tables for unstructured data, so that that data is instantly queryable through BigQuery and using SQL. Next slide. So once you have your data cataloged and searchable, oftentimes you want to understand a little bit more about its characteristics. You want to understand the shape of the data. Over time, you want to detect data drifts. Now, Dataplex makes profiling super easy. With a click of a few buttons, you can get statistical profile of your data, and you can get this information right within your BigQuery Studio experience, as well as within the Dataplex UI. And this feature, we made it generally available earlier this year, but we have a few new capabilities coming on our roadmap towards the end of this year as well as next year. So we want to make it easy for you to profile your data across multiple tables using policies, do things like drift detection out of box, as well as do advanced profiling cross table. Next slide. So in addition to using profiling to understand your data, profiling can also be used to recommend and create data quality rules, where you can point us to a profile of a table and Dataplex can auto-generate data quality rules for you to measure things like completeness, accuracy, validity of your data. And then you can run these data quality checks at scale on a fully managed serverless platform built within Dataplex with built-in alerting, built-in reporting of metrics, both at a granular rule level as well as through roll-up dashboards. So you can really monitor the quality of your data across your data landscape. And in addition to providing you notifications and alerts, Dataplex also makes these quality metrics directly available in BigQuery Studio, so your analysts can look at the quality metrics before they start using a specific table or a set of tables in a data set. Now, we made this feature generally available earlier in August, but we are just getting started. And we have things like freshness anomalies, volume anomalies, more programmatic access to data quality feature in Dataplex coming up on our roadmap towards the end of this year and next year. Next slide. And then finally, Lineage really helps you tie things together. I think as Abhi and Brian were mentioning earlier, Dataplex provides you end-to-end lineage in a comprehensive graph that you can really walk the dependency tree and see how your data is getting transformed and how your data is flowing through your organization. We provide out-of-box lineage for first-party GCP sources like BigQuery, Dataproc, Composer, Data Fusion. And then we also provide extensible APIs that you can embed in your own tools to create custom metadata and support metadata that is emitted or reported by any open source system that integrates with OpenLineage. Now, on our roadmap, we have support for BigQuery column level lineage coming up, and that includes BigQuery, BigLake, and BigQuery Omni. It will be available in preview in the first quarter of next year. We will also be GAing the lineage support for Composer by the end of this year and supporting lineage for Vertex AI to really, again, as I was mentioning upfront, to really provide you not just data governance, but data and AI governance. Next slide. And then finally, we are investing quite heavily to enable Duet AI in Dataplex, starting with the ability to really help you jumpstart your analytics with a list of curated questions. So once you find a table or a set of tables, oftentimes, you need to either rely on tribal knowledge or, sample scripts to really understand like what would be some of the meaningful questions that you can ask of your data. In Dataplex, we want to provide you a curated list of questions based on metadata relationships between different tables and data sets, as well as looking at what are some of the frequently run queries to provide you a list of questions that you can click on and to get pre-configured or pre-created SQL statements that you can then run in BigQuery Studio. And this feature will be available in experimental launch towards the end of this year. We're really looking forward to have you participate in that experimental launch to give us feedback. Next slide. And now I'm going to hand it back to Chad to recap this session.
Thank you very much, Prajakta, and thank you to all the speakers for running through. There's an awful lot there. I hope the folks that are watching here, are able to use the on-demand video to go back and recap things that you need. But let me just land one of the big ideas that we wanted to talk about here. So we've got a pretty extensive data analytics portfolio, and you've heard this term BigQuery Suite a couple times here. We are really gravitating towards bringing all of these capabilities into BigQuery as native first-class citizens within BigQuery and unifying our entire data analytics portfolio behind this BigQuery Suite. So everything that you heard about today is actually within the scope of the BigQuery Suite. We're starting it with these integrated experiences. We're going to be developing this more over the next weeks, months, and quarters. This is a theme and a trend that you will see developing further and further as we go. All right. So there are a couple things before we get to the questions and answers. If you're interested in the stuff that you've seen before and you don't quite know where to start, here's a good place. You can grab a shot of that QR code and that'll take you to an assessment tool that we've produced. So you can basically participate in a survey there, and then our system will give you recommendations as to where to start, what to have a look at, which elements of the BigQuery Suite are most relevant for you to begin your journey. And then I'll also recap this one. If you've got ideas about what you liked, what you didn't like, go ahead and fill out that form and submit it. And we would be very happy to hear your feedback at a portfolio or product level as you like. And so now we are going to do just a couple minutes of Q&A. I have asked, we have a small team of folks that are managing questions. And so what I'm going to do is we've curated a couple of the questions. I think they're all answered in the user interface. But what I'll do here for the speakers is I'll read you the question, and then I'll bring you on, bring your face on and you can answer it. This one is for Yasmin. And the question is, in today's cyber world, what measures does Google Cloud take, different from other providers, to store the data securely and to have it all available readily? And I'll add on a little bit to that. and say, add, in particular in the context of generative AI, how does that strategy of bringing AI to your data enhance security and governance? And how is it differentiated?
Thank you for the question. So just to recap, how does Google approach data and bringing data together, securing it, making it easily accessible? So as we've evolved our data and analytics capabilities here at Google, what we very much understood is data, it is not all created the same, whether it's formats, it's not the same importance at different times. So being able to truly bring all data together, regardless if it's structured or unstructured, different data format types, or it's even across clouds, is critical. So we are investing heavily on that data foundation. How do we have a data foundation that means you've got access to all of your data, regardless of where it lives, and you have governance across that data? So you've got access control, security, governance, lineage. You heard about some of the areas that Prajakta also spoke about, and truly have one unified way of looking at data. Now, security is a core aspect of that, of ensuring that the right users can access the right data at the right time. And so with some of the innovations that we have in the portfolio, now we are providing that security layer, not just across your traditional structured tables, but also across unstructured data types. So if it's an image file or a document file, being able to reference that same security layer across that data. And what Chad just spoke about there with our GenAI integrations actually speaks to a core principle we have of, we don't want you to have to copy your data into different siloed environments to do BI, analytics, AI, machine learning. As we enable that strong data foundation, we want you to be able to run your workloads on top of that data where it exists today. So when it comes to, for example, GenAI, we've integrated the BigQuery suite with Vertex AI, so those large language models run directly on top of data. You're not having to copy that data outside of your data cloud to go run LLMs or machine learning or BI workloads. Back to you, Chan.
Yeah, thanks, and thank you for the question. It's a really key point where bringing AI, bringing those AI functionalities to your data preserves all the security, the governance, the IAM rules, as Yasmin just went through. Okay, so thank you very much. That was an important point to hit on. Prajakta, the next one is for you. Are other tools going to be added to Dataplex Lineage besides Spark and BigQuery?
So the answer is yes. I mean, on our roadmap, as I mentioned, we already have, so we already support Composer, Data Fusion. On our roadmap, we have support for Vertex AI coming up. We also support open source tools that integrate with OpenLineage, and we'll continue to expand both the native, like zero setup integration for Lineage, as well as the ability to integrate with third-party tools where you can auto ingest Lineage through your own custom tooling as well as third-party tools.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And then Brian, we're going to close out this short Q&A session with you, and we're going to dive straight into the weeds, the deep end here, with a detailed question about cross-region disaster recovery. So with cross-region DR, are column-level data classification policies permitted?
Thanks for the question. So we're working to make sure that all of those controls are replicated to the destination region. So in the preview today, if you're working with cross-region replication, you'll know that you'll have to recreate those on the other side, but we are working on making sure those controls are also replicated so you have the same security posture in the failover region that you do in the primary.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. And I appreciate the detailed questions, as well as the broader ones about data strategy and security strategy, the detailed ones. If I could ask the production crew to bring up the final slide. Thank you. everyone for spending a bit of time with us. This video is going to be available on demand, so you can go back to the registration page and watch sections that were useful. Feel free to share it amongst your organization or social media, wherever, for folks that you think will find the information valuable. And so with that, I am going to sign off for our Google team. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care, everyone.